Right, here we go. You get on a video call, their face shows up, they start talking, you talk back, and the whole thing just happens. No lag you'd notice, no fuss, it just flows. Here's the thing though, last time we met TCP, the fussy clerk. Numbers every byte, checks it all arrived, resends anything lost, and refuses to sign off until every last scrap is accounted for. Brilliant for a file or a web page. Terrible for this. But think about what resend anything lost means on a live call. A bit of your voice goes missing. By the time TCP notices, asks for it again and gets it back, the conversation's moved on. That half second of audio is useless now. You didn't want it late, you wanted the next bit. So for anything live, you don't want a careful clerk. You want the opposite. You want something that fires the data and doesn't look back. And that something is UDP, the User Datagram Protocol, TCP's lazy twin. When I say lazy, I mean it does almost nothing. No handshake, no agreeing to talk first, it just sends. No numbering the bytes, no receipts, no resending, no window, no slowing down for a struggling receiver, no polite goodbye. It throws the packets at the network and forgets it ever existed. Here's how little it actually adds. TCP staples a big header onto everything, 20 bytes at least, all the machinery for tracking and ordering and acknowledging. UDP's whole header is 8 bytes, 4 little fields, that's the entire protocol. And those 4 fields are barely anything. Where it's going, the destination port, where it came from, the source port, how long it is, the length, and the checksum, one quick maths check that the bits didn't get mangled on the way. 2 of those are just port numbers. That's it. That's UDP. And even the checksum is half optional. On the old IPv4, you're allowed to just not bother. Send a 0 and skip the check entirely. On IPv6, they made it mandatory because IPv6 dropped its own header check and something had to catch the mangled bits. But the fact that you could ever turn it off tells you the whole personality. UDP does not want to be doing work. Which raises the obvious question. Why would you ever want a protocol that doesn't check anything? That'll happily lose your data and never tell you. Speed. That's the whole answer. Every single thing TCP does to be careful, the handshake, the receipts, the waiting, the resending, all cost time. Round trips. And a round trip to a server on the far side of the planet is not free. UDP skips all of it. No setup, no waiting. First packet out the door is real data. So anything where being late is worse than being wrong, that's UDP's whole world. A live voice call, if a syllable drops, you don't want it back a second later, you'd rather just carry on. Because speed beats certainty, and you probably won't even notice anyway. Same with a live stream or a video call. A lost frame is gone, and you don't stall the whole picture waiting for it. You show the next frame and you move on. A missed pixel, nobody clocks. A frozen call, everybody hates. The game's firing your position over and over and over again every single second. Where you are now, where you are now, where you are now. If one update goes missing, who cares? There's a refresher one right behind it. Resending the old position though would be actively daft. It's already wrong. And here's a callback. Remember all that DNS from the first video? Turning a name into a number? Nearly all of that rides on UDP. One little question. Where's the address for this? One little answer, and we're done. Get in, get out, no ceremony. Fire off a packet to port 53, get one back, grand. Now, a proper asterisk on that one, because it's a lovely example of trade-off biting. DNS over UDP originally had a hard ceiling, 512 bytes. Answers bigger than that, it doesn't fit in one packet. So what happens? The server just can't send more packets and hope they arrive in order. That's the whole thing UDP won't do for you. Instead, it sets one little flag, truncated, meaning there's more. It couldn't fit it in. And the resolver goes right and asks again over TCP instead. Falls back to the careful protocol for the big answer. These days there's an extension, eDNS, that lets both sides agree a bigger UDP size up front. So most answers still fit in one shot. But the pattern's the point. UDP for a quick common case, TCP in the wings for when it won't fit. They're a pair, not rivals. There's a job UDP does that TCP genuinely can't. Getting your machine an address in the first place. DHCP. When you join a network, you've got no address yet. So how do you have a careful two-way agreed conversation with a server when you can't even be reached back properly? You can't, so it shouts. UDP lets you fling a message out to everyone. Anyone got an address for me? No connection, no handshake, because nothing's set up to handshake with yet. A server hears it, shouts back an offer. The whole dance runs on UDP, ports 67 and 68. Precisely because there's no relationship to build a TCP connection on. Same trick for keeping clocks in sync. That's NTP on port 123. Quietly nudging your machine's clock right a few times a day. Quick question, quick answer, no session. There's a whole layer of the internet's quiet housekeeping running on exactly this. Small, frequent, and a lot of who cares if one drops messages. But, and it's a big but, all this not caring has a dark side. TCP, remember, was deliberately polite about shared network. Sees congestion, backs right off, slows down so it doesn't, help cause a pileup. It'll blast at full tilt straight into a jam and make it worse. So the responsibility just moves. If you write something on UDP, the not flooding the internet job is now yours. The standards are blunt. There's a whole rulebook on using UDP without wrecking things for everybody else. The speed is a gift you're trusted not to abuse. And here's the twist that surprises people. That reckless, do-nothing protocol, it's the future of the web. The newest version of the web, HTTP 3, doesn't run on TCP at all. It runs on UDP. Which sounds mad after everything I've said. Why build a web which absolutely needs every byte to arrive on a protocol that guarantees nothing? Because of what UDP really is. It's not the bad transport, it's a blank slate. See, TCP is frozen. It's baked deep into every operating system and every box in the middle of the network. And all those boxes have opinions about what TCP traffic should look like. Try to improve TCP and half the internet will mangle it. It's too load-bearing to change, too embedded into the system. So Google did something cheeky. They built a whole new careful transport. The numbering, the receipts, the resending, all of it. But built it on top of UDP. Up in the application, where they control it, where no middle box interferes. They call it Quick, spelled Q-U-I-C. UDP underneath just carries the packets and asks no questions. Perfect base to build on, don't you think? And they got to fix TCP's annoyances while they were at it. TCP has this problem. One lost packet stalls everything behind it, even unrelated stuff, all stuck in one queue. Quick keeps separate lanes, so one loss doesn't freeze the rest. Couldn't have done that without a blank slate to build on. And UDP was the blank slate. So HTTP 3, a big chunk of the modern web, the stuff you load every day, is carefully reliable, rebuilt from scratch, riding on the protocol that promises nothing. On port 443, same as before, but UDP now. The lazy one turned out to be the flexible one, which is the thing to hold on to about UDP. It's not the worst TCP, it's the raw one. TCP and UDP both sit on the same unreliable IP network underneath, the postal system that cheerfully loses half your letters. TCP piles a mountain of machinery on top of that. UDP adds almost nothing and hands you the mess directly. And sometimes the mess is exactly what you want. Sometimes you'd rather have the raw thing and decide for yourself what to do about loss. Carry on, or paper over it, or build your own careful layer like Quick did. UDP doesn't decide for you. That's the point of it. Honestly, the one genuinely useful thing UDP adds over bare IP is the ports. Those two little numbers in the header, that's what lets one machine tell your DNS lookup apart from your game and apart from your call. Many conversations down one wire, sorted by a port. Without ports, it's just IP shouting into the void. With them, at least the right app gets the right packet. So that's the trade, laid bare. TCP is registered post, signed for, tracked, redelivered, a paper trail for every item, and it costs you time. UDP is about shouting across the street. There's no record, there's no guarantee it landed, but instant and cheap, and if the message is duck, then instant is the only thing that matters. And the beauty is you already rely on both, constantly, without even a thought. The call you had this morning, the game last night, the name lookups firing off every time you tap a link, all UDP, all not caring. All the better for it, because the not caring is the feature. That smooth video call, the face and the voice landing in near real time, that's UDP refusing to stop and check, refusing to resend, refusing to wait, dropping the odd scrap on purpose so the rest arrives now. The carelessness is exactly what makes it feel effortless. TCP faked a tidy pipe by working itself to death over the chaos. UDP looks chaos in the eye, shrugs and just gets on with it. And for half the things you do all day, that shrug is the right answer. Right, so that's the pair of them, the careful one and the lazy one. The two ways the internet moves your data, sat on top of the same held together with duct tape IP. Next time your call doesn't lag, that's the lazy one earning its keep. Right, that's me. If that scratched an itch, there's more where it came from. DNS, TCP stuff if you've not already seen them, and the rest of the plumbing after. So subscribe or don't subscribe. I'm not your ma. Mind yourselves.